Hey, what's going on? Coach Luca here, Coach's Corner. Today I wanted to cover a couple of coaching cues for when you're feeling your back in a trap bar deadlift. Now I've done some like really kind of in-depth, I would say, videos on coaching cues for the trap bar deadlift. So we went deeper, some of them are 25 minutes long. This specific one actually comes from some coaching clients in the last couple of weeks that dealt with that, right? So when they would deadlift, even with, I was per se, pretty damn good form, they'll say, hey, I'm not really feeling it in my glutes, but I'm really feeling it in my low back, being overactive. Now, all other things considered, right? Currently we're not talking about, they most likely need more hip mobility. They need to be in a better position, right? Taking all that away, I wanted to go through 3 different coaching cues that are gonna really help you out. So, number one, I actually did this with Kaisa yesterday, and it helped out tremendously. So, number one, and this one I really, really like, which is to get into this position, isometric position, you're not going to use a crazy load. You're not going to be doing this with like 3 rep maxes, 5 rep maxes, right? But let's say something that we're doing a challenging 5 or 6 or 8, start with a lower load, ramping up and do this. So first you want to get into position. So let's just go over the coaching cues of that. I'm going to kind of do it at an angle so you can see me here, but pushing the hips back. Imagine you're closing a car door with your butt, right? I'm about shoulder width apart-ish, right? And I'm going to crush the bar. So when I crush the bar, a big thing I try to say is like, hey, look, make sure that you are crushing the orange in your armpits, okay? Number 3, I want to make sure that you can see the logo on my chest. So I don't want to be in an RDL position, right? I don't want to be squatty, but I want to feel my hamstrings. I want to feel my glutes. You should be seeing the logo on my chest. And I'm going to start from here. What's going to happen is I want to make sure that, if I'm coaching a client or if it's myself, that I have a long spine, right? So I don't have this kind of forward head posture. I have that double chin, long spine. So just being in this position, hanging out, talking to you guys, I'm already feeling glutes and hamstrings. Now, for some folks, that's not happening, okay? Now I got them in this position. I start creating tension everywhere, right? So I crush the oranges, big brace in my abs like I'm going to get punched, take air in there. And now I'm going to start driving through the heels into the ground but not lifting. So I count it down and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push. And coming back down. Reset and go. Right? So we're driving at the bottom from 3 to 5 seconds is what I like. Okay? And they're not lifting. Right? So they're creating a certain amount of tension, driving a little bit more through the heels, and then they start feeling the backside, right? Hamstrings and glutes. So that's coaching cue number 1. Very effective. We've got folks that have had a really hard time feeling hamstrings, but doing, then going for like 5, 6 reps, going like, wow, like that's a huge difference, that mind-muscle connection. That second part is that when they're pushing, instead of then just driving off the ground, I always coach that first couple of inches to be slow. The reason why is that people will try to get momentum. Even if they're pushing to the ground, then they'll go, ugh, so they use that body language and momentum. But if I have them push really, I'm like, hey, listen, make that first inch or 2 very slow. So they got the tension, we're going 3, 2, 1, and slow. Now they got to stay connected, and then they can go faster, and they're feeling those muscles, because otherwise, that I would say jerky motion, a lot of folks can pull with their back, okay? So, or they lose the upper back. They don't have that tension, right? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So I like to see the movement slow, and then when we build it up, once they have some of that activation, it'll start looking better and better and better, and they're gonna be feeling the right muscles, okay? And number 3 is what I've said a lot of times before as far as the push movement, right? I coach this a lot, and it's not to think pull on a deadlift, right? So if I'm here, I don't want to think pull, because a lot of times I'll pull from my back. I want to think push, right? I'm pushing the ground away. I also like to say, like, hey, listen, imagine that your leg pressing the world, your leg pressing the floor, right? Because if I'm in this position and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to push my feet into the ground hard, okay, I'm here, and I'm going to leg press that floor away, okay? Now we're using a lot more hips rather than extending out of our spine, okay? So again, those 3, Number one is getting in a really good position and starting with a longer isometric and like ramping it up, right? So ramping it up just meaning I'm pushing the ground and I'm driving through the heels a little bit more. I got good position, ramp up more, harder, and then it's gonna come, just start coming off the ground slowly, and then you can speed it up, okay? But that's really gonna make people feel that more. Again, 2 is slow off the ground. Don't have, like the grip and rip sometimes for a lot of folks, not a great coaching cue, right? It's individual, but for most, it's not that great. And number 3 is push, okay? So, before you do your deadlifts next time, if you're somebody that is like, man, I feel my low back a lot, I wanna feel glutes more, apart from like there's a ton of dynamic warm-ups, hip mobility videos, glute activation, you know, not like you can activate the glutes, but doing those before, getting thoroughly warmed up, but then use these cues and then see how it feels and see how your next deadlift session, trap bar deadlift session goes, and let me know. We'll come back with some more coaching cues from the Coach's Corner.